Hello there. Today I watched the film Nandor Fodor and the Talking Mongoose for my review. This movie was written and directed by Adam Sigel. The story follows Dr. Fodor, a paranormal psychologist, as he investigates a case involving a talking mongoose. Simon Pegg as Dr. Fodor and Minnie Driver as his assistant Anne are going through his mail one day when a letter arrives from his colleague Dr. Harry Price, played by Christopher Lloyd. Dr. Price has an unusual case for Dr. Fodor and the two meet to discuss it. Price tells Fodor a long-winded tale about his visit to a rural town to meet with a sheep farmer who claims he has a talking mongoose named Jeff. The conversation inspires Dr. Fodor to head out with Anne to see the animal himself. Upon arrival, they find a town full of strange folk with even stranger tales. So to start my review, I want to do things a little differently today. I did not like this film at all, and I don't have many positive things to say about it. The only redeeming qualities this film had in my eyes were the performances. Minnie Driver, Christopher Lloyd, and the rest of the cast are doing a good job of their roles. They are believable, and they're trying their best to bring the story to life. Driver and Lloyd don't get to do much, but they support the story as best they can. Driver gets to do a few jokes and some emotions, and she does it well. Lloyd gets to narrate a section and have two conversations with Pegg. He manages to make them feel interesting and has decent chemistry with Pegg. Simon Pegg tries to make the role work as well, but unlike the other two, he's doing a ridiculous accent that takes a lot of the quality out of his performance. He gets emotional moments, he gets to do some decent speeches, and he even does them well. But the entire time, he's floating in and out of an accent I can't even identify. He even struggles with the pitch he chose for the voice. At times, he maintains it well, and at other times, he drops it for his own natural pitch, which is much deeper. It's like Dr. Fodor is going through puberty periodically throughout the film. Outside of the performances, there's just a lot of bland choices and a boring story. The visual journey takes us through a few different locations set in a nondescript time period of the past. It's supposed to be sometime in 1937, but all of the clothing looks like modern dress wear. There are only a few locations in the rural countryside, and the film doesn't do anything with them. The best we get is different conversations, and the closest we get to a standout visual is the 2 or 3 times they manage to capture a decent bit of emotion from the actors. There are also 1 or 2 visual gags in the form of narrated flashbacks. The humor comes from the mismatch between what we can see and what the narrator says, but there are only 2 of these scenes and the jokes are quick. The journey lacked anything of note to look at and had a lot of muted scenery in it. Sound-wise, the film was filled with quiet instrumental tracks that just didn't have much of an impact. There weren't that many of them to start with, and the ones that did get used ended up sounding repetitive and bland, like elevator music playing on repeat until the scene ends. There are no special noises or sound effects, and even Jeff's voice is just a slightly high-pitched human voice. The story is the worst offender of all. It's essentially about a guy investigating a fraudulent case, but not actually doing anything beyond asking people to provide proof. He follows in the footsteps of Dr. Price, who already asked all these questions, and wrote down the answers too. The townsfolk are clearly lying to him, but rather than try to find out why or trying to disprove their lies, he just keeps asking the same questions like a broken record. When he eventually meets the mongoose, it's a voice speaking at him from off-screen. The voice recites some cryptic lines that are a bit playful and taunting, and then disappears after making its point. The film doesn't have any likable characters, and it doesn't develop anyone but Nandor and his assistant Anne. The development that it gives them is minor, and we really don't learn much about their pasts either. The only thing the film seeks to do with its story is delve into the question, why do people turn to the supernatural? It spends a lot of time pontificating upon this idea, but never really gives you a reason to care about the answer. It doesn't actually provide a clear answer anyway. The story is told in a confusing and slow manner. There are sections like the infographic in the beginning that aren't relevant to the story at all, and half of the story is told through exposition dumping and narrated flashbacks. The information is hard to digest and even harder to sift through for the relevant data. There's nothing to keep you invested or to pique your interest. Overall, it's just a boring film about nothing. A guy goes to a place, asks a bunch of questions, hears a bunch of tall tales, then leaves. They don't create likable characters or an interesting journey. There are no captivating visuals or engaging songs. There's only a question without an answer. There's only a little bit of humor, and it's only mildly funny. Outside of the performances, this film just doesn't have anything to offer. As for a rating, I'd give this film a 3 out of 10. Remember, these are just my thoughts on the film. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Bye-bye.